Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Your favorite moderator, DJ Hilson here, prosecuting attorney in Muskegon County. And this afternoon, we've got a really great program for you, a conversation about the Michigan State University Extension and its value and importance, not only to the state, but more importantly to Muskegon County. It's my pleasure to welcome two experts in this. James Kelly, as well as Tanya Pell. Welcome, the two of you, to this conversation. Thanks for being here this afternoon.
Happy to be here. Thanks.
Thanks, DJ.
As I typically like to do, I'm going to ask first and foremost that if each of you could introduce yourselves to our Rotarians and tell a little bit about not only your, I guess, a little bit of your history, but your role with MSU Extension. And so, Tanya, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. As DJ said, my name is Tanya Pell. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am the 4-H program coordinator for Muskegon County. I've been here for over 5 years now in this role for about 3.5. I studied history and women's studies at Central Michigan University for my undergrad, and I'm currently studying social innovation for my master's program at Grand Valley. I grew up in Fremont on my family's dairy farm and was a 4-H member for most of my childhood. So I really loved having this job for the past 5 years and really getting to give back to an organization that meant so much to me and my family growing up. I'm also the member of the Greater Muskegon JCI, and I've lived here in Muskegon for 3 years now. And I have, really just loved getting to know the community more and kind of diving into what makes Muskegon so wonderful.
Excellent. Thank you, Tanya. James, introduce yourself, please. It appears as we may have lost James due to a connection issue here. So hopefully we'll correct that. That'll get corrected and we'll give him an opportunity to introduce himself. I want to start with you, Tanya. Maybe we can focus in on your expertise in the 4-H world. You indicated that you grew up in 4-H. You surrounded yourself with that program, and now you're kind of a bigger role in that. So what is 4-H really all about for those that may not know?
Yeah, so 4-H at its core is a youth development program where youth learn life skills through participating in various programs and projects. So our members can learn about raising and showing animals, which many of them do. They can build up their STEAM skills, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. They can learn how to sew and bake and grow vegetables in community gardens and really a lot more. So with the help of our adult 4-H volunteers who are pretty vital to our program, we are trying to teach the youth of today to become the leaders of tomorrow through those projects and through those programs that they participate in. So most of our Muskegon County 4-H members participate in animal science projects, and they do so by raising and showing livestock, horses, small animals such as dogs and cats. And we're really looking forward to being able to have many of them participate in the Muskegon County Fair again this year, which is a great way for them to show off their 4-H animal science projects. And one of our longest serving programs in 4-H is our 4-H Tech Wizards mentoring program. Here in Muskegon, we've had it for, I believe, about 9 years now. And it's during a normal year. We haven't really been able to do it with the pandemic and everything. But it's a weekly after-school mentoring program where adult or teen mentors are paired up with youth mentees, and they get to work on those STEAM projects that I mentioned earlier. And in the past, they've worked on like robotics projects, dissecting old technology, like projectors and old laptops. They've gone geocaching in our, local parks and everything. And they've also even designed some video games and just board games in general. And with the pandemic, actually, the amount of programming that 4-H members here in the county and statewide can participate in has really only increased. We've been virtual since March of 2020 up until pretty much last week. And our 4-H staff across the state have really introduced programming around such a variety of topics and interests that I'm continuously amazed by what my colleagues and volunteers come up with. Some of the clubs that I know have existed statewide that I know some of our members over here have participated in are like a Lego building club, writing poetry, hiking, babysitting, and I actually led a Harry Potter book club that I started with a colleague in the fall and here in the spring as well. 4-H also organizes and plans events on the state, national, and international level. So 4-H is an international program. Many people might not know that. 4-H members can attend statewide events like 4-H Exploration Days, which is one of my absolute favorite events to participate in as a staff member. It's the largest pre-college program at MSU, and youth who participate are eligible for a pre-college scholarship at MSU. The youth get to stay at MSU for 3 days. They get to have a feel for college life while meeting 4-H members from across the state and participating in some really unique and fun learning opportunities. We don't get to do it this year, but it is virtual, and we are still allowing and accepting registrations for that. We also get to have national programs like Citizenship Washington Focus. Youth get to go to DC for a week. And we also, like I said, internationally, 4-H hosts international students in various study abroad programs. And we also do send 4-H members here in the United States out abroad. So we really do kind of a mix of everything, as I mentioned, at the local, state, the national, international level regarding youth positive youth development. So.
Wow. So what you're saying is it doesn't sound like you're very busy at all, and you probably need to get a second job because, I mean, you listed off about, I don't know, 50 things, which is incredible, and great opportunities for our young people to really get involved. So that's fantastic. James, you're back. You're back from the virtual dead, and so we'll go back to you. And if you could maybe introduce yourself to the Rotarians here and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I would love to. And loving virtual life, I thought I'd give a demonstration of how to handle those technology challenges. But yeah, my name's James Kelly. I've been with MSU Extension for about 2.5 years now. I have the role of district director. So I actually have a 5-county region that I provide support to. And of course, Muskegon is one of those. I have pretty strong connections in Muskegon. I first came across from Australia to the fine county of Muskegon many years ago through the YMCA, worked up at the YMCA camp, and then downtown at the Y, transitioned to Baker College for a while, and then up directing an extension site in Fremont for Baker College. So, but with MSU Extension, out and about in the various communities that I support, and my role really is to kind of be a part of community conversations to see how MSU Extension Services could be brought into the county, into the communities to bring the resources of the university out, which of course is kind of the foundation of our land grant university title. Back in 1855, I'm not going to give you an extensive history lesson, but state of Michigan gave MSU some land, put together a university to make learning and knowledge more accessible to the Midwest. And with that came a responsibility to spread that knowledge and learning out into the community. So great to have Tanya on to talk about youth programming. And I am hoping to just share a little bit about other areas, perhaps areas that folks aren't as aware of within MSU Extension's services.
Well, let's talk about that. Maybe, you can kind of wrap that into, what MSU Extension is. I mean, obviously people know Michigan State University, but this is MSU Extension. So if you could expand on that as well as the programming that are available to our older population.
Yep. So we have a presence in all 83 counties across the state of Michigan. And traditionally the folks know MSU Extension perhaps through our agricultural services or through 4-H. I'll be honest, I didn't know a lot about MSU Extension prior to starting my career with them a few years ago. But that network across the state really has allowed us to kind of respond to a lot of issues on a pretty effective rollout level, which has drawn us into other areas, which are, again, probably less traditional for folks. So we have 4 main areas that we focus on beyond the ag and agricultural business area. We do health and nutrition programming. So we have community nutrition instructors who are doing programming for school systems, working with seniors, food pantries, doing a lot of policy systems and environment work. And certainly within Muskegon County, we have a couple of folks who are working on those areas with different institutions. We have another institution called Community, Food, and Environment. And again, they have a really broad net that they cast related to community engagement, supporting local government. So we provide new commissioner school training for our new commissioners across the state. We do financial assistance as far as home ownership education, community development, land use planning. I could sit here and literally fill up the remaining 9 minutes with programs, which I won't do. And then Child and Youth Institute, which is what 4-H is part of, but they are also doing other programming related to social and emotional health, certainly active lifestyles and just supporting family developments from birth to 19. So it is a really broad list of programming, which allows us to really bring resources where there's a need. So I think that's the key message, DJ, that I was hoping to share today, is that we are only as helpful and successful as the community allows us to be. In that, my general appeal is that if you are struggling with a process or any issue within the community, I would challenge you to reach out to MSU Extension as a resource to see what we might be able to bring to the table in terms of the university resources. I've been challenged over the last 2.5 years on many occasions to provide resources, but just a range of topics. Some of them I know nothing about, but I was pleased to find that we had meaningful assistance that we could provide most folks. So I will share, we have nothing to do with the academic side of MSU. Don't ask us how to get your kids into MSU. Don't ask us about financial aid. We are the outreach part of MSU. And again, I think we're fortunate to have that role and really look for opportunities to serve in the community.
Excellent. I know we've got 8 minutes. I've got a couple more questions, but this one I know is a burning question for some of our Rotarians. Is MSU Extension available to those who may graduate from the University of Michigan? And is there a special process they have to go through in order to get those services because it's University of Michigan?
Special process and special pricing, of course, for the added stress and strain. But no, we are accepting of all. And I'll use that great question, DJ, as a tee into the fact that we are very conscious of who we serve through our funding, which is federal, state, and county funding. We do have a responsibility to make sure we're actively serving all people across the community. So one of the things we really push people like Tanya is to be aware of what programming she's providing and what pockets are underserved. We look for parity on all different areas from race, age, religion. We want to make sure that everyone has equal access to our programs. That is really important to us, even those U of M folks.
I'm sorry, I had to ask that question. I can't even burn Gary Nealon on this because he's an MSU fan, and I think a graduate, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, there's a lot of us around.
Yes. This is a question for both of you, and I'm going to start with you, Tanya. If there are members that really would like to get involved, whether it be volunteer or somehow provide some service or some help to 4-H, how can they do that?
Yeah, definitely. Great question. So first of all, we are always looking for adult volunteers. I will just put that caveat out there. We can't have a program without adult volunteers. There's a process to become a volunteer. So if any Rotarians would be interested in starting a 4-H club, starting a 4-H program, they have a great idea for something, reach out to me. We can get that started. But in general, too, we just like partnering with organizations, businesses, and community groups to provide new programs and events. So like our 4-H Tech Wizards program that I mentioned, we partner with Mona Shores Middle School, the Muskegon Community College Fab Lab, and the elementary school up in Montague Early to provide programming. That's kind of, those are our partners in that program. We've also recently partnered with the Greater Muskegon JCI Group to provide a scavenger hunt this spring on St. Patrick's Day, and so many local businesses, especially downtown, donated prizes to that program. So really, it's just all about collaboration. We can't do all of the things that I mentioned without partnerships, without adult volunteers to help us. So I just really challenge anybody that is coming up with a new idea, a new program, a new event, and that we could potentially provide some partnership with, reach out, because I would love to chat. I'm all about teamwork and collaboration.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that. James, kind of a similar question to you. I mean, are there opportunities for Rotarians to be a part of or assist or work with MSU Extension on the other side of the coin?
Yeah, I think the important part for us and for me specifically in my role is just to keep us in mind. If you are forming a task force, a collaborative group that's looking at an issue, whether it's housing, broadband, increasing the yield of your dairy farm, early childhood education. I mean, again, the list is extensive, but if you're looking for additional resources, I would encourage you to reach out to me, and I would be thrilled to find additional avenues to provide support. We have a team that's based in Muskegon County, and we are in the health department physically. We have some space through the Muskegon County Health Department, which is excellent. That's a great partnership. We have an active presence, of course, on Facebook. So look up Muskegon County Facebook. They are posting a lot of our programs daily. There are new programs being highlighted, but not just for Muskegon County. Again, there are resources that we are bringing in from all across the state. A lot of virtual programming, as Tanya referenced, that I think you will find eye-opening, from beekeeping to nutrition to everything in between. So just keep us in mind to invite us to the table. That's kind of the main piece that any organization or leader within Muskegon County, that's how they should engage with MSU. Our former director had a wish that MSU Extension would be on the top 3 phone calls, the list of the top 3 people I might call any organization if they were struggling. We don't expect to be the first one on the list, but we have this massive resource in the university that we need to bring out into the community. So put us to work.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. We've got about 3 minutes left. Is there any recent efforts? I mean, obviously we've gone through this pandemic, and that's kind of shifted how people had to deal with things. But anything during the pandemic or recently that you want to highlight that you were able to accomplish here in Muskegon County? Tanya, go ahead. You first.
Yeah, I can talk about, so I mentioned that we did a scavenger hunt with the Greater Muskegon JCI. We're actually doing another scavenger hunt with the Lakeshore Art Festival happening next month during the festival in June, and we're really excited for it. So I'll just put a plug out. We are looking for prizes to give away to teams of any businesses or organizations would like to donate to that. That would be really great. I'm also leading a statewide nature journaling club that will last July through August and open to all youth. So again, follow us on Facebook to stay tuned for when that registration will be open. It will be a great way for youth to be more mindful and engaged in nature this summer. And of course, the Muskegon County Fair is happening the last full week of July, and I'd really just want to encourage everyone to come on out and see the youth in our community showcase their 4-H projects. I believe the schedule of events should be on the Fairgrounds website in the next month or so.
Fantastic. About 2 minutes, James. Any recent efforts or accomplishments here in Muskegon County you want to brag about?
I think I'll just highlight the fact that we are in the middle of a hiring process that will allow us to provide a manager for the new farm facility on the MCC campus, the new Food, Agriculture, Research, Manufacturing Incubator. So we're excited to kind of bring MSU resources to that project more formally through staffing. And the other piece I'll just highlight, perhaps that folks don't know about, is just some of our mental health programming that's developed over the past year or so. We offer training in mental health first aid, both for adults and youth. And that's obviously a huge concern following all the pandemic activity. Mindfulness training, anger management training, all kinds related to mental health. So I'll just use that, as an example of how we're continuing to kind of adapt our offerings based on where the needs are.
Fantastic. Well, Tanya and James, thank you so much for being a part of today's program and providing, I think, some valuable information as to the importance and the reach that MSU Extension has, not only with our young people, which is extremely important, but also to anybody really in Muskegon County. The list seems endless as to where MSU Extension could be a valuable resource. So I would highly recommend that if you are thinking about or doing something or getting involved in some sort of effort, that don't forget about MSU Extension. Last 20 seconds, what's the best way to get a hold of you guys?
Yeah, my phone number is 231-724-4739.
There you have it.